Hi there. Here's a story with a practical lesson to remind helping helps you. It starts with Leonardo da Vinci, who died 500 years ago on May 2nd, 1519. It ends in Paris because of what happened there on April 15th, 2019. I hope you're intrigued. It's hard to say that Leonardo was the greatest painter in history because he only left behind a dozen or so paintings. It's easy to say he was the greatest genius ever because in anatomy, aviation, engineering, sculpture, urban and weapons design, and more, he was centuries ahead of everyone. A true visionary. Da Vinci was designing a canal, another field, for the King of France when he died there. He was only 100 miles or so from Paris's magnificent Notre Dame Cathedral. But, and there's always a but, he never got to see it, even though it would have appealed to him for its art and architecture. I forgot to mention, Leonardo was also a great architect for the magnificent Cathedral of Milan, the Duomo, as well as other buildings. Leonardo and I share not visiting Notre Dame. He was sick. I was stupid. It was on my one and only trip to Paris. Yeah, he's the genius, not me. And neither of us will be able to visit again because a fire destroyed the lead-covered oak roof and took out 5 to 10% of the cathedral. Notre Dame's maze of attics was known as the forest because 13,000 oak trees were cut down to make its beams. After 850 years, they were as dry as kindling. Heartbreaking images of the pyre above one of the world's great religious and tourist sites were flashed all around the world. Thankfully, heroes saved many of its treasures, art, candelabra, chalices, relics, and sculptures. Some of what was saved surprises, like the Sainte Couronne, the Holy Crown, brought from Constantinople and revered since the 12th century. There's also the tunic worn by Saint Louis, a 13th century king of France. Some were passed hand to hand in a human chain. Other individuals ran in and disregarded the falling drops of molten lead. Wow. Many of the most precious paintings, textiles, and sculptures were displayed in chapels around the nave, so they were out of the line of fire. Thank God, and I really mean thank God. By some miracle, their wonderful organ was spared. It's one of the largest in the world. Even more wonderful is that the 3 enormous stained glass rose windows remain. They tell stories for the faithful to read, predating pictures and cameras and videos by almost 1,000 years. They're among the greatest treasures of the church. People feared the 2 bell towers would collapse. They didn't. Each of the 10 bells is named after a saint. The biggest is called Emmanuel and weighs 13 tons. Unfortunately, the very large paintings on the walls below were damaged by water, smoke, and heat. The famous spire atop the roof fell, provoking a global gasp. Relics at its very tip had acted as a spiritual lightning rod to protect the faithful. The reliquary, a rooster, has been found and it's only slightly damaged. But even better than that, the statues of the apostles at the base of the spire are still perfect. They were removed for renovation just in time. The one of St. Thomas, the patron saint of architects, has the face of Julie Lucek. He's the architect of the spire. A little bit historic ego. By the way, something like $1 billion has been pledged already to restore Notre Dame to its former glory. The 50,000 visitors who come every day have never been charged to go into the cathedral. We hope that stays the same. The good news is that virtually every square inch of Notre Dame has pictures. The bad news, besides the fire, is that finding oak trees big enough to rebuild the roof the way it looked is a real problem. Don't know if that roof is going to ever look the same. It's certainly going to get a fire suppression system. Don't know whether or not they're going to put spires up on the towers. Yeah, here's one for you. What about building a rooftop garden, solar powered? What do you think? Tell us, please. Our practical lesson is not simply to visit tourist sites when you're nearby. No. It is when you fall down, get up! Charles Dickens famously wrote, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times." Notre Dame has known both, and it has risen from destruction once before and will do so again. And that is not a prayer, that is a fact. Go see our next video. There's a Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. It seems that we're living in them now. A lot of good is happening and some not so good. You will get raised up in your life and you will get knocked down. Remember, you only truly lose when you give up. So don't. Get up. I wish you a long life. A lot of getting up, but ever higher, ever higher. I am Mike for the Be More Better team, and I am down 4 pounds on my diet. 4 pounds. I'd like to thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Please comment, like, subscribe if you haven't, but always, always be more better. Body, mind, and spirit. And then be even more better when you pick someone else up when they're down. This has been a pleasure. Until the next time, bye now.